G7 summit. One of the biggest diplomatic events of the year has kicked off. All eyes are now on the summit that is underway in southern Italy. World leaders have arrived and they will take center stage, and so will global issues. Some major issues on the agenda are Russia-Ukraine war, Israel-Hamas conflict, and tensions in the Indo-Pacific. Along with this, some issues such as migration, climate change will also be discussed. Some of the most powerful figures from countries like US, UK, Canada, France, and Germany have gathered in Paris. Together, they generate about 45% of the global GDP and represent around 10% of the global population. The G7 members will take some decisions that will now have consequences far beyond their territories. So how did the organization come to its present composition and became such an important element of global governance? Let's track this. Rewind to the year 1975. G7 was born as an organization to deal primarily with global economic and financial issues. From that to today, it has come a long way. Initially, it started with 6 members: US, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom. The idea was to have a platform for non-communist countries to discuss the pressing economic issues. Their concern was fueled by inflation and global recession sparked at the time due to embargo imposed by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC. So at the first meeting, the countries discussed the oil shock and the crisis of global recession. The heads of the state also agreed to meet once every year in the future under a rotating presidency. So this was the year 1975. Canada soon joined the organization a year later in 1976, and from G6, the organization now became G7. A year later, in 1977, the European Community also joined the London summit. And since the year 1981, the EU has been participating fully in the G7 as a non-enumerated member. Remember, this was the time Cold War was underway. So during the course of 1980s, the organization soon expanded its scope to include foreign policy and security issues. This was the time when conflict between Iran and Iraq, as well as Soviet Union's occupation of Afghanistan, posed as major international challenges for the world. So after the Cold War ended in 1991, Mikhail Gorbachev, the General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, was invited for talks in London. This went on parallel to the G7 summit. Russia then began regularly to attend the summit, and in the year 1998 it was formally taken into the fold of G7, and the organization now became G8. This continued till the year 2013, but 2014 witnessed a major break. This was due to Russia's annexation of Crimea from Ukraine. This was seen as a violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity by the Western members. G7 members decided not to attend the planned G8 summit in Sochi under the Russian presidency, and Moscow was kicked out of the group. And then the G8 again became G7. So now when it comes to the jurisdiction of this organization, it's an informal organization. It does not have a formal charter or a secretariat. Its decisions are not binding. The presidency is responsible for setting the agenda of each year's summit, and this time it's Italy. Non-member countries are also invited to participate in such discussions. This time, this includes India, UAE, Turkey, Jordan, Algeria, and Tunisia, among others. For such videos, stay tuned to India Today Global.